This is a continuation of the Cal 1 Test 2 review. So in the last video it cut off just as I was starting this problem, so I'll pick back up with it. Alright, and just to recap what was said previously, that says the cosine of, and there is a function there, so it's not just cosine x. So you have to use the other trig derivative rules, which are like the chain rule. So what we would do is we first take the derivative of the mama, and that's the whole thing there. So we look at the derivative of cosine. Let's do y prime. Would be negative sine. And then what's inside of there, you just keep it. Alright, and then we multiply that times the derivative of the baby. And that's what's inside of something, always inside of something. So then 8x squared would become 16x minus 3. And then you can rewrite that, bringing this 16x minus 3 up to the front, so negative 16x minus 3, and then we can multiply it times the sine of 8x squared minus 3x. You can leave this parenthesis off right there. Alright, and that would be the answer to that. Alright, looking at the next one. Alright, so this one is a product. We're multiplying 4x squared minus 8 times 5x squared minus 8x plus 6. The instructions ask us to find the derivative of y with respect to x. And so there are actually two ways in which you could work this problem out. You could first use the product rule, since it is a product, and then say first times the derivative of the second plus second times the derivative of the first, and then simplify from there. Or you could go ahead and distribute those out. So since there's no exponents up there, we don't have to worry about using the chain rule. We can go ahead and do the product. So if I rewrite this, I can say 4x squared times 5x squared will give me 20x to the fourth. And then 4x squared times negative 8x would give me negative 32x cubed plus 24x squared minus 40x squared plus 64x minus 48. Alright, and then from there I could combine the like terms together. So there's only 1x to the fourth, and there's 1x cubed. Then I have 24 minus 40 give me negative 16x squared plus 64x minus 48. And so now I no longer have a product, but I have sum and difference. So then I just take each individual term and take its derivative. So 20x to the fourth would become 80x cubed. 32x cubed would become 96x cubed, and then this would become, no, sorry, man, those exponents, x squared, and then 32x plus 64. And then that's all there is to your answer. Alright, if you wanted to work this out using the product rule, you should get the same answer. So if I'm going to use the product rule, I'll work it out like that. It's going to be first times the derivative of the second, so that would be 10x minus 8 plus the second times the derivative of the first. Alright, and then from there you still have to do a product, you still have to multiply here, so we'll have 40x cubed minus 32x squared minus 80x plus 40x cubed minus 64x plus 48x, and then we combine like terms. I left off my 64 there. There should be a plus 64 in here, this right here. Okay, so now we have 40x cubed, and 40x cubed gives us 80x cubed. Then we need, let's see, What else do we have? Right, I need to do better on my multiplying. This right here should be negative 64x squared. So that would give us negative 96x squared. And then we have 48x's. Negative 80x's would give us negative 32x's plus our 64. So the same thing as what we got up here. To me, it's easier if you go ahead and if you can simplify it and do the product first. It's much easier. To me, there's less room for error. But maybe that's just me on my part. Alright, so either way, you'll get the same answer. Alright, let's look at number 17. Alright, this one says, find the derivative with respect to y. Find the derivative of y with respect to x using the derivative rules. Okay, now there is a quotient in there, but you're not dividing it into another function, and it's not a function. So what we could do is rewrite this. And bring this up to the top. So then it would become 9 times x to the negative 5th. Like that. Now it's just a sum and difference, and we can use the power rule. So negative 5 times 9 will be negative 45. Remember, we're subtracting 1, so negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. Then this will become minus 4x to the negative 5. Now usually we don't leave negative exponents, but I believe that my math lab will let you leave them negative. But if you choose to change them back to positive, you're going to drop them to the bottom. And remember, you're just dropping to the bottom what has a negative exponent, and those are just the x's.